Hey y'all, how's it going?
Oh, it is almost Thanksgiving. I'm filming this on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I'm very busy. I am working, but I am also baking my mom a birthday cake because her birthday falls on Thanksgiving this year. So, but wanted to take some time today so that we all had something relaxing to watch on Black Friday and take you on a garden tour. So we're gonna do a garden tour, but then I also need to harvest some stuff for a birthday lunch that I'm making for my mom. So let's get started. Okay, y'all, so we're gonna start in our normal corner that we start in. This is the herb and flower bed. So we've got these really beautiful mums that are still surviving and thriving. I did replace my peppermint. I lost my peppermint over the summer, which I was really bummed about. My French marigolds finally bloomed, and they are this gorgeous shade of red. Parsley, curly parsley, we're gonna harvest that parsley, the flat leaf parsley, to make some chimichurri. Part of my mom's birthday lunch is gonna be a marinated flank steak with a fresh chimichurri on top. So good. So let's grab some. Okay, y'all, so I am gonna use this pretty quick here. I'm actually gonna go inside and make the chimichurri and stick it in a jar to take with me. But if you store your parsley in the fridge in water in a jar, it will keep for like a week, because fresh cut parsley out of the garden, if you don't put it in water, it will not keep very long. So keep your parsley in water, and let's keep going. So these flowers have been a bit slow on the draw, and that's just because we don't get as much light this time of year. But these are Phyllis Crackerjack marigolds, and they finally have blooms on them. So hoping to get some blooms out of those guys soon. Now the kale bed has been unimpressive. So my stuff got like decimated by cabbage worms. They're really bad this time of year. And the leaves started finally falling off the trees. And so this little section is getting a lot more light, which is good. So we actually have lettuce growing. The early fall is really tough for this bed. And we have lacinato kale actually growing and not just being eaten alive. And we've got some really beautiful zinnias. So these are a crackerjack blend. I really love the like deep richness. These canary bird zinnias are just freaking stunning. And there was a really pretty, I'll show you, I put together an arrangement. That was a really pretty like maroon one. So lettuce bed's doing good. Nasturtiums are coming out. It's about to get real cold this week. Like, I don't think we're gonna have a hard freeze, but it's definitely gonna get cold. So this bed, especially the nasturtiums, may not do as well. And then I don't actually know if I talked about this. I am attempting to rehab one of my best friend's lemon trees. And so originally this tree actually had a stake on it that was attached to it with a pipe cleaner. And it was attached right here on the tree. So it actually grew around this pipe cleaner, and this trunk is just really weak. And so what we did was we took some string and attached it around so this can still move, because the way that this tree is going to get stronger is for it to like be able to move around in the wind but also have some support. I am encouraged though, because it's starting to grow thorns, and it didn't have that before. So she doesn't have space for this lemon tree right now, so we're basically babysitting it until she can take it, but we're gonna see how that progresses. And then more zinnias. I'm really loving the amount of flowers I have growing out here right now. It just makes me really happy. These are some micro dwarf tomatoes that I had a viewer send me that are doing pretty well. They have little blossoms on them, but I've also got them in with other things, so I'm not really sure how well they're doing. This lettuce, I think I might just let it turn into a head of lettuce. See how that goes. And then our bean bed is good. The beans that I planted late to kind of fill in the gaps are coming up really, really well. I probably need to come through here and actually pick them. And then these two sunflowers, I think we'll get small blooms out of them, but that was kind of just a miscalculation on my part of like actually the viability of growing sunflowers this time of year with how the sun moves in our backyard. So the beans are doing really well, and we don't have, they like kind of stopped blooming for a minute, which was weird. But there's plenty of beans out here. Here's one. I'll probably pick some of these and have them for dinner. This is the Dean's purple potted pole bean. My camera's not focusing. So there's definitely some of these out there, and I think I've decided this is my first time growing pole beans. I really like them. I just wish that there was more sun. That's like the one worst part about this, is that there's just not that much sun. But these are producing really well despite the lack of sun. Oh, here's two bigger ones. So I can only imagine what these would do with like adequate sunlight. So a few more zinnias. So this bed is funny. Some of these cabbages have gotten completely decimated by cabbage worms, and this one actually bolted. I think the top got eaten off of it, but these two are actually creating heads of cabbages. So like, look at how big and beautiful that is. And now it's like condensing and actually gonna create a head of cabbage. So I don't know how these are in the same bed, but that one bolted and that one didn't. Make it make sense. So then we have, these are just another type of pole bean that are just green. And these didn't do as well, especially in the back, because they literally don't get enough sunlight. So there's definitely stuff you can grow with minimal sunlight, but man, just doesn't do as well as you want it to. But this will be a good little meal. And this is just from the pole beans. I bet if we picked from the bush beans, wonder if there's any hanging out in here. I think especially with like how many YouTube gardeners and all this, I mean, I guess a YouTube gardener, but I feel like sometimes we see this stuff and we feel like we have to have this big massive harvest for it to be worth our time. And I just think that that's so false. Like, seeing the big massive harvest is really cool and it's motivating, but also we forget that like a small handful of green beans like is still food. How bizarre is that? Then we can keep making our way down here. Some of these collard greens are looking very nice. So these are green glazed collards. This is Japanese red mustard. More collards. These are some cabbages that probably aren't getting enough sun. Swiss chard. These have been workhorses. These are the Alabama blue collard greens. These are great. Again, some stuff just getting freaking decimated by cabbage worms because I was not doing a good job at prevention. I feel like especially with something like cabbage worms, if you don't tackle that right when you realize it's a problem, it gets away from you very quickly. So then here's my little tree propagation station. Clearly I'm not doing a good job because some are like falling over, but we've got good progress. I mean, look at that. That's awesome. I'm so happy about that. Some of the other ones that I potted up, they're not making as much progress as I really wanted to see, but I think I'm just being impatient. And then some of the stuff that I took from the community garden, like this was one I took from the community garden, it's a little slower on the draw. So that might be something that like maybe I didn't do it right, or maybe I'm not keeping them moist enough. This is all kind of a big learning experience, but some of these other cuttings are really doing great. And then kind of a fun little surprise that won't really turn into much. My Eureka Pink lemon tree has a blossom on it, and this happened a couple of months ago and it totally like aborted the blossom. And it's got another one. It's actually got a couple this time, which I'm finding encouraging. And it's also starting to get really thorny. So I gotta be careful when I'm taking care of these. So that's what's going on with the backyard garden. When we go to the community plot, I'm going to have to harvest some more stuff for my mom's birthday lunch. But I'm also really excited to show you the community plot because it was one of those unintentionally beautiful things. So let's head over there. Y'all, this is what I wanted to show you. Look at all of these beautiful volunteer zinnias. The bees are so happy, but I'm gonna have to cut some of these flowers right now for my mom's birthday bouquet. But these all volunteered and seeded themselves. But we have a few things going on. Not as much happened right in the plot as was supposed to. Got some collard greens, some mustard greens, and then we did get some good germination in the carrots. So we do have some little carrot babies happening. Those will probably be at least another month. I don't remember what these were. I think these were either rutabagas or kohlrabi. And then my beets didn't really take. I have a couple down there that are golden beets, but then lots of garlic. So I planted garlic all throughout the plot. So that's coming up. We have some very confused volunteer tomatillos. And then this first row, I found out the other day, are turnips, because there was one that was ready to pull. Its little purple shoulders were shooting up, and it looks like this one may have been crowded, so I'll show you. Yeah, this was probably never gonna size up. But they have these little purple shoulders on them. And you can eat the greens of turnips too. I don't think any of these are ready, but these are all turnips, and turnips are nice and sweet once you get them roasted up. And turnip greens are really good as like a wilted green. Yeah, I don't see any of these that are actually ready to pull. There was just one, and I didn't know what was here until it was ready, and there's probably a couple of radishes in here as well. So we're gonna grab some oregano for my chimichurri, and then we're gonna cut a big flower bouquet for my mom, and then pull any straggler radishes that are ready. Okay, y'all, so we got a big bunch of flowers for my mom. Lots of beautiful flowers, and I'll grab more from the backyard tomorrow or tonight before we leave. And yeah, we got some sage and some oregano and some meager garden harvest, but worth it all the same.